So, with all four Boston sports teams currently not playing right now, I thought it would be a cool idea to go over them 1 through 4 based on my criteria of where they are as a team right now, how good are they, how bad are they, and future outlook. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, at number 1, and I don't know if a whole lot of people are going to agree with me, I have the Boston Celtics. The thing with the Boston Celtics that not every other team in the Boston sports area has right now is they have shown that they have had a level of success with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum for a long time. Jaylen Brown is currently playing at an MVP type level. This is maybe the best basketball we have ever seen him play in his entire career. And Jason Tatum is going to be coming back from an injury, and obviously he's not going to be at the same level right away, but over time I have a feeling he's going to be just as good as he used to be and maybe even better. I think based on the franchise as a whole, I mean, you still have Brad Stevens, who's one of the best president of basketball operations in the NBA. You have Joe Mazzulla, who's one of the best head coaches in the NBA. And, of course, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Peyton Pritchard, Derek White. You have Neemias Queta, who you've developed. You have a whole lot of guys that I think are just a recipe for winning. And I think that's what makes them the best team in Boston sports right now. But this brings us to number 2, and in a very close race, I have the New England Patriots. Obviously, the Patriots are coming off a Super Bowl appearance. Drake May was playing at an MVP-type level this year, and they have a lot of cap space going into the offseason. So this is going to be really interesting to see what they can do with this team. Now, the only reason why I don't have them above the Celtics right now is because they are still kind of a fairly new team. This was Mike Vrabel's first year. It was Drake May's second year. There's still a lot of question marks on this team, more specifically on the offense. Can you get more superstar players around Drake May on the offensive end? The defense was great. I don't think there's as many questions there. But overall, I still think that this Patriots team needs more time. And once they get that time, they're going to be fine. They're probably going to end up being the number 1 team in due time. This brings us to number 3, and I have the Boston Red Sox. Now, the Red Sox are currently in spring training right now, but they are coming off a season where they ended up making the wild card round and losing to the Yankees. My expectations of the Red Sox coming into this year are a little bit similar to the way I was thinking about the Celtics. This team just has so many question marks, and you have no idea what you're going to be getting out of everybody. I think the thing that is the most well-known is this team is going to pitch. They have arguably the best pitching rotation in the MLB right now, and obviously they have Garrett Crochet, who's one of the best pitchers in the MLB, but the offense is another thing that's going to be very interesting because you have no idea what you're going to get. You lost Alex Bregman, which is a huge loss for this team, but you have Roman Anthony, who's supposed to be a superstar player in this league. I think he's going to be, but you still have to see it for a full season. Can Marcelo Meyer and Trevor Story stay healthy? That's going to be a huge storyline. Can Jarren Duran bounce back and have a good season? And what are you going to get out of the rest of the guys? You have Caleb Durbin now. You have Christian Campbell out there. Cedar Rafaela, Willie Abreu. Can they take another leap? It's just a whole lot of question marks, and I think at the number 3 spot, I think that's pretty much where I think they're going to be right now. And finally, we have the 4th place team. I have the Boston Bruins. Now, I can't say I've had a lot more fun watching the Bruins this year than I thought I would, but they are just a very inconsistent team. That is probably the only consistent thing about them. There have been times where they've rattled off 8 wins in a row and look like the best team in the NHL, and there are also times where they have gone on a major losing streak and have looked like one of the worst teams in the NHL. But that is kind of where the Boston Bruins are right now. They are a very, very young team. They're kind of similar to the Red Sox in that way, but they have the superstar. They have David Pastrnak, who has been absolutely incredible. They have a whole lot of other ancillary pieces that have been incredible, and your young guys have been really good too. Plus, you have a whole lot of guys waiting in the pipeline coming in. This is going to be a very good team in the future, and arguably they could make a charge at the number 1 team in Boston sports, depending on how everything goes. I can say that maybe for the first time since 2019, Boston sports currently has 4 teams that are very worth the watch. There was kind of a rough period in the beginning of the 2020s where outside of the Boston Celtics, that was kind of a rough watch watching the Red Sox, the Patriots, and the Bruins, but I can say now comfortably that every team is going to be good in the future, and that makes me happy as a Boston sports fan. But let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.